How many of you have really spent time to think about the true value of our national flag? How many of you believe that the Nigeria we have today provides you and I the enabling environment we need to attain the success we dream of and become agents of hope to the coming generations? In 1960, after Nigeria gained her independence, some elders from different parts of this country had the privilege of being elected into leadership positions. It was their responsibility to lay a solid foundation of prosperity for our nation, where every Nigerian will feel a true sense of belonging, irrespective of his political party affiliation, his ethnicity, or religion. But instead of being loyal to the nation they have been elected to lead, some of our elders chose to be loyal more to their ethnic groups. Between the year 1961 and 1965, census figures were manipulated to favor a particular ethnic group. Several agitations from minority groups for an inclusive leadership were totally ignored. The main opposition parties, which would have been the pivot of a true democratic Nigeria, were suppressed, and the leaders of these opposition parties were sentenced to different terms in jail. In this country, we had an election that was so marred by irregularities. When Nigerians began to express their displeasure through protests and riots, the government of the day sat in their offices and kept pretending and everything was all right. But everything was not all right. People were being killed. Houses were being burned. Property worth millions were wasted in the streets. Meanwhile, while all these things were going on, the youth of Nigeria sat in the barracks and in the universities and they were watching. They were hoping that somehow the elders would come to their senses and put national interest ahead. But when it became so obvious that even the blind could see that our young nation was heading to an impending damnation, the youth had to step in. As it has always happened in every generation, that when the older generation fails to solve the problem of their people, the younger generation always takes it upon itself to attempt to solve this problem. When they came in, their goals were clearly stated, their motives were pure, but their method was totally wrong. They ended up staging a revolution that some of our elders were killed in a bloody coup. Because of the deaths that this revolution caused, there were a series of reactions and riots in the streets of Nigeria. Houses were being burned, people were massacred, and finally our beloved nation was thrown into a bloody civil war. The most gruesome civil war that this part of the world had ever witnessed. During the war, women were raped, children were maimed, youth died. Our streets were littered with the dead bodies of Nigeria. Some people were buried in mass graves without identity. It is on record that about 100,000 Nigerians died as military casualties, and between 500,000 to 2 million of our people died of starvation. The streets of Nigeria were littered with the dead bodies of Nigeria so that our flag will keep standing. But it's so sad that today, 5 decades after they paid the ultimate price, 5 decades after, we boast of having a country that has been described as the worst place in the entire world to give birth to a child. Today, it has been described that half of our population lives in extreme poverty. People that cannot make $2 a day, $2 to eat food. Today in Nigeria, we have an educational system that keeps on pumping out thousands and thousands of our young people to the street as job seekers, all of them without hope of ever finding a job in this country. And today, we boast of having an electoral system and politics that is so based on empty promises made during campaigns without the commitment of ensuring that these promises are being met. Now, I considered, what role do the youth of Nigeria have to play to change the narrative? I found out that our youth have been confined to the background and given a permanent office called the leaders of tomorrow. But during my findings, I find out that children are the leaders of tomorrow. And youth have been given physical strength, the power of vision, ideas, and creative dreams to be the leaders of today. The youths are the leaders of today. Go to Europe, go to Asia, go to America, go to Australia and other parts of the world. Young people are captains of industries. Young people are building NGOs. Young people are leading their nations to greatness. But here in Nigeria, The youth are the leaders of tomorrow. A few years ago, a young South African walked the streets of South Africa, and he saw how his government were oppressing the very people that they were elected to protect. Nelson Mandela made up his mind that this must come to an end. And with the collaboration of other young people and other elders, he fought and paid the ultimate price. And you and I are witnesses that apartheid finally came to an end. In America, a young reverend by the name Martin Luther King Jr. saw how his people were being oppressed just because of the color of their skin. Just because of the color of their skin, people were treated as second-class citizens and reduced to the positions of animals in the forest. Martin Luther King Jr. made up his mind that it must come to an end. And you will find out that a black man became the president of America a few years back. The youth of Tunisia came together and they pulled down the most extractive government that they ever faced. And in 2011, the youth of Egypt came together and they built a new nation for themselves. They brought down the extractive government and tried to build a new one that they will be proud of. All these are to point to you that when young people choose to forget their personal interests and seek national goals and objectives, yes, the society will be blessed. And today in Nigeria, I see something new coming. The creator of the heaven and the earth has not left Nigeria without hope. And he has put this hope of Nigeria in the hands of ordinary people in the streets, in the hands of the children of the poor in the universities. I see a group of Nigerian young people meet in groups of 10, of 20, and of 30s, and they have made up their minds that they will no longer graduate and go to the streets and look for jobs that will not exist. They are coming together, pulling their talents, their abilities, and their physical energy to work and create jobs for themselves. And out of those small groups of people that are united by love and compassion for the poor, people that are united in their diversity, will spring forth multi-billion-dollar businesses and NGOs that will bring hope to the coming generations. I see celebrities join with ordinary Nigerians in the streets, and they are creating a new generation that we will all be proud of. And when this day comes, I see a group of people in the street who are being called cultists. You are not cultists. You are not kidnappers. You are not prostitutes. You are my brothers and my sisters. We are the hope of our nation. Our elders died, they paid the price so that you can come and save our nation. And when this day comes, we will be able to step on the world stage and raise our national flag with pride that yes, we are truly the #1 black nation on earth. That yes, we are truly the giants of Africa. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.